Sinners is one of them movies where it's like what made me, because we talked about it last week, how so many people went and just start writing stuff. I do feel like that's one of those movies where nobody can really spoil it to you, because it's almost like, because tying it into even like music, it has so many triple and double entendres. Like the movie has so many different layers and meanings. I don't think you can really give a real breakdown off of just one watch. Like that was one of those movies where I feel like you had to maybe go see 2 times, unless you was in the movie theater real live, writing down what you seen, and then you was gonna miss something. Like that's one of the movies to me, like I feel like I couldn't really give a real respective breakdown from anybody, unless you just, I mean, one, if you just want to punch home whatever like part that really stood out to you the most, then you're cool for sure. But if you're talking about a strong, thorough breakdown from A to Z, I think realistically you would honestly need, you have to be able to pause the jump, because it just had too many, it had too much meaning behind it. Like there was one of those movies, like for the first time, it was like, damn, I definitely would need to see this like 2 more times, or at least 1 more time, to really be able to give real detail and really kind of like, besides just surface level conversation, to really get what you was watching and really understand and be able to break it down. Like that movie was that good. And then if you one of those people where I seen like a lot of people like, oh, I'm not messing with, like, don't, because I'm gonna play this clip of this girl, whoever was sitting here saying she left the movie because she was Christian. Like I do feel like sometimes that is again something where I don't believe in just taking people's opinion via social media. Like go see the movie on your own. Like y'all know for a fact, if you've been listening to this show long enough, or if you follow me on social media, you know I'm heavy into my religious beliefs, and that movie ain't had nothing to do with scaring nobody or running nobody away from going to church or nothing like that. Like that don't, like, again, that's why I sit here and say I think a lot of times people just like, on the surface level, just to like say something, it's like, just let me say something about this movie so people can know I seen it. Like that to me would be just like, if you said, oh, I can't go see this movie because of just because of my religious belief, is sinners, I don't play with the demons and this and that. Like, you can't sit here and say I don't play with the demons. If you've ever seen any scary movie, like, bro, I don't know what the difference was. Like, and I feel like these demons in this movie had way more. Again, when we talk about double entendres and real life, really meaning and definition behind it, it was way more definition and meaning behind actually what this was, just like some vampires. Like that junk was like, it had way too much meaning into it. So I am gonna play this clip of this girl that went viral, because I did see, I think a lot of people seen her clip and didn't take time to go to see the movie. But real quick, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is how you kind of just like, when I always talk about parenting and like how people raise their kids with certain level of manners. This probably was the first time I seen a movie with my mom in maybe like 20 something years. Like no exaggeration, like literally like 20 some years. And I literally felt like a kid sitting beside her when they was having like nobody didn't get butt naked. Like they didn't show no skin, but just getting into it, like even coming into the John Michael B. Jordan telling his little cousin how to eat the box right. And it was just like, because this is the first time, like I recommend all types of movies to my mom. Like, have you seen it? But I don't watch them with her. So it's a difference between like, you got to sit right beside your mom in the movie theater and Michael B. Jordan talking about eating a box. And it's just like, bro, I felt like a little kid, because in the back of my mind, the last time seeing a movie with my mom was like a movie of that type of, like, just close your eyes, put your hands over your eyes type of thing. So like I said, none of that, they never got that like graphic. Like nobody literally didn't take their clothes off, but it was just the concept of like they was doing the thing, but they just didn't get like I said, it wasn't like an X-rated joint, like they was getting butt naked or nothing like that. But it was just funny to me. I was just thinking about that. I was like, dog, that's just how. But when we talking about being raised the proper way and having a different proper level of respect for your parents, like that, just in my mind, I was just laughing at myself like, bro, you are grown. But it's just so funny, because it's just like it's hard to erase some of those things, because it's just how you grew up. That was, like I said, literally the last time I've been in the movie theater, it was to the age with my mom. Was like, hey, close your eyes or whatever the case may be. So it was just funny as hell, just listening to Michael B. Jordan telling his cousin to eat some box. And I'm just like, bro, what the hell am I doing? Why did I go see this with my mother? But anyway, I'm gonna play this clip of this girl.
Walked out on the Sinners movie, y'all, not because it was a bad movie, but because it was too heavy on me spiritually. And I did not realize it was going to be that heavily spiritual. To be fair, I didn't see any previews at all. I really honestly just wanted to support Ryan and Michael. It was so heavy on me, y'all. I had prayed like 4 times by the time it got to the middle of the movie. And the scene where Cornbread came back to the house, shortly after his scene, that next scene made me leave. I couldn't take it. I caught a message that made me start calling on God. Like I was just saying, my God, I kept saying that. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to disturb nobody. from trying to like watch the movie. But it was so much to it, y'all, that I was like, I can't. Like, I have to leave. I have to go pray. So I left. I walked out. I might try to go finish it. If you're gonna go see it, please pray before you go see it. Please guard yourself. It is heavily spiritual. It is heavily spiritual, 100% through and through.
So that, even just like I said, even with that clip, that to me just kind of don't make no sense, because like you made it that far, bro. You made it to damn near to the end of the movie. Like you literally made it to the end of the movie. It may have been like maybe 20 minutes, 20 to 15 minutes left of the movie, which she's saying she walked out and left. So that's just my thing of, and I think when you sitting here saying it was that spiritual and it was that deep onto your soul where it made you leave, I think it was just that deep on your soul because the message had so much real meaning to it. Like even to me, like when I'm like maybe the first 15-20 minutes into the movie, it was one of those movies that kind of made you like, damn, I'm honestly just like, it was one of those movies that made you feel good to be black. Like it just kind of like, I'm just talking about, and we just talking about just off of the strength of them singing and playing like the what was he, I can't forget the instrument that the older dude was playing. I won't say the harmonica, but it was just like those little feelings where it was just like one of those old school Southern, and it wasn't like a slave movie, but it was like in that time, like it was right after slavery. It still looked like it could have been a slave movie, but it wasn't an actual slave movie. Man, that movie, I got, like, I'm talking about a 10 out of 10 for that movie. Like I'm literally would sit here and say a 10 of a 10. I highly recommend it. If you have not seen it already, you have to go see it. Like you're doing yourself a disservice if you have not seen Sinners yet. I promise you, like that's not even no exaggeration on it. Like it's one of them Jones you have to go see. Like I can't, like I'm not gonna lie to you, I can't believe it. If you haven't seen it, I can't believe it.
There is a Chinese community in the Mississippi Delta that's been living there for over 100 years. I did not know that until the movie Sinners, to be quite honest. And in my research, apparently the Sinners team worked with Chinese-American documentary filmmaker Dolly Lee to ensure that the characterization of Grayson Bow and the representation of Chinese immigrants during that time period in Mississippi was authentic. Dolly Lee also made this documentary for AJ Plus on YouTube called The Untold Story of America's Southern Chinese, about the unknown community of Chinese Americans who lived in the Mississippi Delta for more than 100 years. The 8-minute documentary video talks about how the Chinese immigrants were also working in the fields because they were cheap labor because they were foreigners with no citizenship rights. But then a lot of the Chinese immigrants pivoted to owning their own grocery stores, were able to sell to both white people and Black people. And while they made up a very small population of the Mississippi Delta, they still contributed and made an impact in the community nonetheless. See all of that history in that documentary through the characters. There is a Chinese community.
This is a store that I grew up in many, many years ago. We lived in the back of the store before we bought another house.
Like most of the Delta Chinese of the time, Sally's parents opened and ran a grocery store. The Chinese originally came here to work in the cotton fields. With the end of slavery, plantation owners could no longer depend on the free labor of slaves. So they looked to the Chinese, who were cheap, disposable, and politically voiceless.
When I think about how the Chinese came and just settled in the Delta from Memphis to Vicksburg, I mean, just look at it. It really filled a particular need because nobody else wanted to do it.
These stores played a uniquely important role in the segregated South, serving the Black community when the white community wouldn't.
When I think about
Frida's family store in Min Sang started out in the 1930s as two different buildings across the street from each other, one serving Black people, the other serving white people. Neither Black nor white, the Chinese community found themselves in the middle.
It was like a 3-lane road.
So real quick, I guess to just kind of give it a little bit of backstory, it was a Chinese family in the movie, and it was so crazy because when like when you heard the Chinese lady speak, her and her daughter, it kind of caught me off guard because I was like, how they kind of sound Black. But even listening to this lady, like, I mean, she's a Chinese woman, like a real, this is not an actress. This is somebody who actually is Chinese, who lived in Memphis. So it kind of just lets you know where it's like, I get it now. Like when you kind of think about it, like when a movie was on and originally came in my brain, I was like, why they sound like this? But then it kind of made more sense where it's like, okay, if they were born and raised in Memphis, yeah, you know how to speak your language, but realistically, you are going to have a Southern drawl to it because everybody around you talk with a Southern drawl. So it kind of made sense. But off the rip, I was kind of like, oh, why the hell does lady sound like that? So it did kind of throw me for a loop, but it did, like I said, it made a lot of sense. And then again, I mean, of course, like, the crazy thing about this Sinners movie is if you can kind of take it into what happened in like the last 7 days, just like in Black culture, from Shannon Sharpe to even to the Shador stuff, like it would kind of made you sit here and think like a little bit to the point where like I can make a tie into all of it, like where one of Michael B. Jordan's characters where he was dating a white woman, where it was kind of just like, and the white woman was his downfall, like he ended up becoming a vampire because of this white woman. And the crazy thing is I don't necessarily know if people even paid attention to really was listening, because I didn't hear like when I've heard other people talk about it, I don't necessarily know if people paid attention that Michael B. Jordan's character was a pimp and he sold the girl, like he sold the girl to a white man. Like if you really listen to their dialogue when they first met back up with each other at the train station, it's like I'm listening to what he was saying to her, like how he loved her, but like I knew I wasn't gonna never be here for you, I wasn't gonna stay here, so I made sure that I put you with somebody, like what the case may be. So I was kind of like, damn, that's crazy that all right, this you sound from listening to what I'm saying, with him saying and how he was talking to her, it sounded like he was a pimp and he was really money hungry. And even to their downfall of why they end up becoming vampires was because they were money hungry. And that's kind of how he trained her brain to be like, let me go get some money about of these people. So like even that saying and the way they were talking, it kind of like, oh damn, was he was real live, really pimping her at one point in time. So just listening to all of that and let that be said, like I said, that could go, I could tie that into the Shannon Sharpe part. And then even when we're talking about the Shador thing, it kind of made me think of like, why do sometimes we be so geeked to kind of just like, and I understand people, everybody got their own dreams of whatever you want to do and how big of a platform you want to play on. Like if I'm tying this into like Shador, into even to the movie where it's like, but do you sometimes have to chase, I guess, whatever, how people was painting it to you? And that, like I said, I could tie that into the movie, because in the movie, it was like a, it was the older man who was playing the harmonica, and Michael B. Jordan character was trying to talk him into coming to play for him. And the older dude was like, yeah, I can come and play for you right now. This weekend, you may have $20 for me this weekend to come and play for you. But are you going to have $20 next weekend, the day after that, this, that, and the third? Because I've been playing at this other place for the last 10 years. And they had my money every weekend. And I know for a fact they're going to be here for the next 10 years. And they'll be here. If I can live another 10 for the next 20 years, they're going to be here consistently with my money on the weekend. And the reason why I said I can tie that into, sometimes I think we got to think about this, because that's all I kept thinking about with Shador. I'm like, bro, you're such a big, your name is so big and this story is so big. If you go undrafted, I would kind of just would have been like, screw it, go to the UFL. Like, that's how popular you are. Like, you got to think about it. More people were concerned in talking about Shador Sanders than he got drafted, what, 140? They talk more about him than the other 143 players that got drafted before him. Like, if I'm Cam Ward, I'm the #1 draft. You know how blown I would be? Like, that's nowhere. Like, just think about it. Nobody in no other draft, NFL draft ever, have you ever heard somebody ever get talked about more than the #1 draft pick? Like, you never, like, you heard last year, all you heard was Caleb Williams. And that's why Jalen Daniels kind of just came through out of the clutch, out of nowhere, because nobody wasn't talking about nobody else besides the #1 draft pick. So realistically, for the 104th, so that's kind of made me think, like, sometimes are we so caught up into what you already kind of, I guess, what's already set in stone for you, or what you think is set in stone, where it's like, could you go do something else if you kind of wanted to, if you sit here and just like, all right, let me kind of bet on myself. Am I really as popular as I am? But I don't want to sit here and rush into that conversation. But that was just something that I kind of was thinking of watching a movie. Like, what's a different spin to it? Because it's like I said, this movie has so many layers. Like, I can tell you about the whole jump and it still wouldn't be. It's literally like listening to like a Jay-Z song. I think some of the real messaging between the movie actually won't sit into you until you probably got to, realistically, to me, you're going to need a good 2 watches, or the first time you watch it, you're going to have to be able to pause it and really be able to break down, like, what's the meaning behind this? What are they really saying? Like, I do think, realistically, to me, if I'm Ryan Coogler, he should probably really realistically do it. Like, I understand he done a lot of interviews already, but I probably would have broke some of them jump down and waited until people seen him and did more other interviews like next month, so people can really get a real ask you questions, and the movie is sitting, you're not knowing spoilers at that point, where so everybody who going to see it already seen it and kind of have real breakdown on what it actually meant. Because it was just like, damn, that movie had so many, like, I'm talking about, it was layered to a different type of, like, it had so many different layers in it too. And shout outs to Preacher Boy. I'm not gonna lie to you, his level, like, even when you just go off of just looks, like, he didn't, and when we talked about, and it's so funny because when we was talking about like Big X the Plug last week, it's like when you were saying his voice fit that, like, I'm looking at this dude And I'm like, bro, he just don't like his back, like the way he sound, it didn't fit his back. Like he was such a small, skinny, like country boy, but his like he had one of those strong, deep blues voices where it was like, damn, when you heard him sing, it kind of just captured people. And shout out to the lady who played his girlfriend in that movie, but she looked good as shit. And she could sing her ass off. And it was just like the party, like when they even actually got to performing the music in the club. And it was just like, it gave you one of them feelings where you just wanted to get out your seat and goddamn dance with it. And that just kind of, it's just so cool to let you know like how black people could realistically just turn nothing into something and make it just so fire. And that to me was like one of the coolest things about that whole movie. It was just like, bro, they literally took like a bond shed and turned that joint into a club, like, and it was just literally, and the joint was real live lit. So, like I said, if you haven't seen Sinners already, I just highly recommend it. I don't feel like I did no crazy real spoilers to it because I feel like you can't do no real spoilers. Again, I would debate anybody. You really probably need to see this movie at least 2 times to get a real digest of what was going on in that movie. From just even that's why I say like with the vampires thing, that to me was more of just like, again, tying it into just the whole situation, even with Shador this weekend. It was kind of like, it was like the white dude was like, hey, you know, we do stuff a little bit better. You should come and just pay attention to how we got it going on, and we can just help you live forever and do whatever. And you just heard that all weekend. It was just like, all right, dog, y'all got it. Like I said, that's a movie I just highly recommend it, especially with the way in black culture went throughout from Monday to today as Sunday, like the last 7 days, kind of tying that in, like I said, to Shannon Sharpe, tying that into Shador Sanders. Like I feel like that movie has so many different layers and breakdowns to just a must see. So like I said, if you haven't seen it already, please go see it.